Hi, hello, how are you? I'm Alex and welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing well, and if not, that's okay. I get it, we've all been there. Get a cup of tea, get some water, get a snack, and let's get started. I love to judge books by their cover. It's the first thing that you see that tells you what the book is about, vaguely. You know, it's what attracts you to pick up the book and read the back, at least, if not read the whole book. So today I will be talking about some of my favorite book covers. Book covers that I really liked that got me to pick up the books and read them. And I'm really glad that they did because I got some really good books out of that. The first book is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is such a cute cover. I think it's super cozy. The cover's super cozy. The story's super cozy. It has a cat, 2 steaming cups of coffee. I just think coffee shops are cozy in general. Something about coffee. Cozy. This cover is also glittery. I'm not sure if you can tell, but that top blue bit is glittery, and I love glitter, so that's a selling point for me. And the book is really good. Kawaguchi is originally a playwright, so this was originally a play or 4 plays, and he converted them into a novel, and they take place in a coffee shop where you can travel back in time, but only if you follow a very specific set of instructions, including getting back before your coffee gets cold. Because if you don't get back before your coffee gets cold, you get stuck in this middle realm thing, which is not good. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was cute, I thought it was funny, I thought it was heartwarming, I even thought it was heartbreaking sometimes. It's a really good book if you're in a reading slump because it's quite short and I find it's a fast read. I finished it in like 2 days, which is pretty fast for me. So yeah, definitely check out Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Oh gosh, is that the time? Sorry, I have to go, the man mumbled evasively as he stood up and reached for his bag. Next up, we have Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. Okay, let me be honest right now. This is a Sally Rooney fan account. On this channel, we love Sally Rooney. This is the second Sally Rooney that I read, though it's the first one that came out. I read Normal People first and loved it. I love this one too, though I do like Normal People a little more. I'm very excited for her new book. I really like this cover. This is not the first cover of Conversations with Friends that I've seen. I know the American cover, which I don't like as much, or to be honest, I don't like it at all. I don't think it properly depicts Bobby or Francis well, even a little bit. It was just like an artist was told that this is about 2 girls, and one is edgy and a lesbian, and the other one is a quiet bisexual, and the artist was like, okay, so I'll do one that looks like a tomboy, and then another one with long hair. Shame. I hate that cover. But this cover is really nice, and I think it matches with my Normal People copy better. And I just really like the emotion that comes from the girl on the cover, and with a little like paint swatches over her eyes. It's really nice. It's really well done, and I love the yellow as well. This book is about relationships and the comfort of going back to what we know, even though what we know isn't necessarily good for us. It's a lot about toxic relationships because, I mean, everybody in this book kind of sucks. Like, everybody, really. And, you know, it's about being young and being in uni and struggling with mental illness and struggling with friendships and love. And I don't know, it's really well done. I love the intimacy of Sally Rooney's writing, and it feels like you're talking with an old friend, if that makes sense. It's like I said, it's very intimate, it's very close and personal, so you feel like you're really learning about real people that you know. I highly recommend reading this. I'm really excited for the show, and I'm very, very, very excited for Rooney's new book. Bobby and I first met Melissa at a poetry night in town where we were performing together. I just want to say that before I read Conversations with Friends, I thought it was about something completely different. I originally thought that it's about this girl, Frances, who dates a married couple. Like, I thought she dates both of them. They're all in a relationship together. That is definitely not what it's about. Still very good, still very interesting though. I would read anything that Sally Rooney writes. Anything. Before I introduce the next book, I'm gonna be honest. This book took me 3 or 4 attempts to actually read it. The first 2 or 3 times were not successes. I would get stuck on page 50 and I wouldn't be able to go beyond that. It's not necessarily a difficult book. I think it was just, I was reading it during my undergrad where I was already doing so much reading, so my brain just couldn't focus on this book at all. And that's 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Really good book, and beautiful cover. I love the nature theme. I love the green. And yes, the fact that this cover is beautiful is part of the reason why I gave this so many chances. Because, I mean, to try and fail to read a book so many times, normally I would give up. I also obviously know that this book is excellent, so I wanted to give it a chance. And this booktuber that I really, really like, Emmy, who's also a Canadian queen, loves this book. She raves about this book. She says it's the best book she's ever read. So because she really loved this book, I wanted to get to know the book at the same deep personal level that she did, so I could understand what she was talking about. And I think I gave it 4 or 4.5 stars on Goodreads. I think it deserves more than 4 just because Marquez is the creator of magical realism. This book essentially brought that genre to life, and he's a brilliant writer. I loved his time metaphor and how everything that is born, everything that's alive, eventually succumbs to decay, which is essentially how the story of the Buendia family is told. You know, it starts with Jose Arcadio Buendia, and then it ends with Aureliano, I think, one of the many, and it just shows how the family succumbs to decay by the end. But I don't think I liked it 4 stars necessarily. Maybe I just don't get it. I'm not a classics girl, I think. I think that's the problem. Nonetheless, I can't deny that this book is excellent. I did have to flip back to the family tree that they have. That's why I dog-eared it, because literally every character in this book has the same name. Many years later, as he faced the firing squad, Colonel Aureliano Buendia was to remember that distant afternoon when his father took him to discover ice. Next up is Travelers by Helen Habila. This isn't actually the first cover for this that I saw. I saw the hardcover cover first, but no tea, no shade. I hate hardcover books. I prefer reading paperback. Please don't come for me. I'm not trying to call anyone out or whatever. I really like the hardcover cover, but I pre-ordered the paperback, and I think the paperback is also gorgeous. This also has a lot of emotion in it, in my opinion. You know, it's a man standing by the water, and you don't know what he's thinking or what he's looking at or what he's feeling, and it makes you want to know more about what happens in the book. And Helen Habila has an incredible writing style. I love, 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 love his storytelling, and I really liked how he changed his writing style as the story progressed and as the characters developed, it's really interesting. It's about a Nigerian scholar who moves to Berlin with his wife, who just got an art fellowship there. And it's about how he struggles with his privilege and the stories of others in the African diaspora. And it's heartbreaking, it's moving, it's painful, and it's incredible. You have to add this to your list. Download the audiobook, borrow the book from the library, order the book online, whatever. However you read literature, read this. We came to Berlin in the fall of 2012, and at first, everything was fine. Next up is The Master and Margarita by Mikael Bulgakov. I said it right this time. Need I say more about this book cover? If you're like me, then you understand. You get it. Obviously, this is not the first cover of this that I've seen. However, this is by far the best. Probably my favorite book cover ever. And I think it says a lot about the story. I'm not going to tell you too much about the plot, only because I think the best way to read this is knowing very little going into it. However, I will say two things. One is that it's an incredible celebration of magical realism and the absurd. This was my first taste of Russian lit, and it was a wild, wild ride. And second is that my favorite character in this is a vodka-drinking, gun-loving, chain-smoking, talking black cat. And if that doesn't make you want to read this, I don't know what will. And lastly, I have Indian Horse by Richard Wagamese. Whew, okay, this cover, amazing. It's not the original cover, but this piece of art was created by Bruce Berry, who made it specifically for this novel. Richard Wagamese is a Canadian Indigenous author, and his novel is about Saul Indian Horse, who goes through his life trying to understand and come to terms with the trauma he experienced as a child after he was ripped away and stolen from his family and taken to a residential school. And it's a lot about healing from past trauma and past abuse, and he finds solace in hockey, which is a very Canadian sport, although it's not the national sport of Canada. That's lacrosse. Anyway, irrelevant. It's a very powerful book. There's a lot of incredible imagery in it, and I think it's a very important story to read as a Canadian person. I'm always looking to read more Indigenous stories, specifically Canadian Indigenous stories, and I'm very much looking forward to reading Richard Wagamese's other works and probably rereading this book because it was over far too soon, and also it hit me like a truck, and I feel like I need to read it again just to take it in properly. My name is Saul Indian Horse. I am the son of Mary Mandamin and John Indian Horse. My father was called Solomon, so my name is the diminutive of his. Okay folks, that's all for today. I hope you liked this video, and I look forward to making more in the future. I enjoyed talking about some beautiful books, and like this video if you like this video. Subscribe if you want to see more of my content. And yeah, that's all. Bye-bye.